And he's a man that has something in common with me in the fact that he is also a podcaster. Fair to say in its infancy, but also something quite exciting. Adam Leatherbarrow, how you doing, pal?
Hi, mate. How you getting on? You good?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks, mate. I'm very well. Even your profile picture sets you up to look like a podcaster, mate. So you're the fucking part these days, aren't you?
Oh, mate. Honestly, that picture was taken. I forgot I had that as my profile picture, so we could be honest. Yeah, so I basically went to my next door neighbour's wedding, and they had a silent disco. And we obviously past 11 o'clock, and it's like early hours in the morning. But when you take them headphones off and you're watching the people on the dance floor dancing and singing and there's no music, it is hilarious. It is funny. One of the geezers one of the geezers was right off his nut and he was singing, Prodigy, Outer Space. I'm consenting to outer space.
Yeah, I know well.
He's putting on a Steve McLaren Jamaican accent in the process, and it's just hilarious. Yeah,
mate, it's so funny. Those silent discos. I think you probably know. I've told the story on the podcast, but I went to one of my own when we done an away trip with X to Bournemouth, and X didn't fancy going out, and there was just pumping music in the hotel over the road, and it was exactly that. It's the maddest thing. You put on a set of headphones like you're wearing in your picture, and you can either choose room 1 or room 2 in your ear. I can't remember, one was reggae and one was soul, I think. It was brilliant, brilliant, both of them. Yeah. But it's the weirdest thing, because you said exactly what I experienced. You take your headphones off and you go to the bar, and it's just deaf silence, but people just dancing. It's a mad experience, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit surreal.
Yeah. So tell us about your podcast, Dad. Tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, sorry, mate. So it's a new podcast. Basically, the background behind it is that I've befriended a couple of guys that live on an estate in Essex, in Halstead, and we're basically all in the same boat. We all moved in the new builds, and we've all been kind of socialising on and off. But it just so happened that we've had kids during that time, over that past 4 years, and all our other partners, our only partners.
Yeah, this is being recorded, Ed. Be careful, mate.
Yeah, my missus just gave me a bad look there. So basically they done while they're all on maternity leave, they went to baby classes like baby yoga and baby massage and stuff like that. And it just so happened that the mums were also on the site as well. So they've kind of met up, and then I'll get, your kid's going to the same class as my kid, and your kid's going. So yes, that's how we kind of got together, and we've formed quite a good friendship over the past couple of years. But Christmas just gone, went down to our local pub, the Three Pigeons, and we got absolutely trolleyed over Christmas. It was just watching football all day and just having a few beers. And it's just come out and said, like, you know what, guys, we should do a podcast. Like, everyone's going to listen to this. I went, yeah, now let's do it. And obviously, a few cicadas down, you're thinking, this ain't going to work. And then we woke up the next morning thinking, no, you know what, we could do this. And then over the past 8 months or so, that we've just been kind of cashing our heads together, trying to think of a format. And then we launched our first sort of taster episode last week. And it's had some good feedback so far. I mean, it's small numbers at the moment, but we're getting there. So the kind of idea of the pod is that obviously once you start having a family, your sort of football alliances kind of get put to the back seat. So you don't go to games as often. You should find a time to try and watch the game or whatever, because you've got a young family to raise. I mean, my daughter's 2.5. My co-host, kids, he's 2.5, and my other co-host has got an adopted daughter who's 3.5. So, so we've got quite a good balance there. But yeah, obviously, they're two Arsenal fans, sadly, and I'm the only West Ham fan. So I'm getting Declan Rice thrown at me left, right, and centre all the time. And it's I can't take it anymore, Dave. Honestly, I'm that against Rice now. I'm starting to have pasta in my main meals over it. So it's just to kind of get away from the memories. But the main emphasis is that we are trying to still remain in touch with our football clubs, support them from a distance, because we're equally as hurt as those that go week in, week out. And it's just not unfortunate, but our lifestyles change, and It doesn't make us any less of a fan because we've decided that we want to have a family. And
Of course not. Absolutely.
And I suppose that, because we're a young family and it's hard to get them to go to games, and when they get older, hopefully we get to take them and then share those experiences as well. But I think there's a lot of people out there that a lot of fans out there that kind of don't get heard or don't get thought about because they don't go to games as often. I mean, I've probably been to West Ham for about 4 or 5 times over the past 3 years, and it's so hard to get over there nowadays because you've got so many constraints and the opportunities are few and far between. So it's always hard to kind of support your club, but we try. But the idea of us is that we try and our very best to do so, whilst sharing memories and stories about our kids that are kind of making us laugh, or horror stories. I think in my trailer I said, we could be talking about Toonami to Poonami. So it's a complete. You could do a complete 180 on that. So yeah, that's what our podcast is about.
That's amazing. What's it called?
Yeah, so we're called Dad's Our Job podcast. So the reason behind the name is I love the Roy Keane meme where he's criticising the goalkeeper, saying about, well, that's their job.
Yeah,
and it was just a kind of play on that meme. So basically, Dad's our job. Like, of course you're going to do that because you're the dad and that's your job. But so it was that. But we had a few names that we kind of clashed our heads about. I think Real Social Dads. I think that was one.
I like that.
RB Dads and stuff. Yeah, so we had a few names. But Dad's Our Job was the winner.
That's quality, mate. That's quality. And do you know what? It's mad, really, to think. I mean, I literally I can't believe me and X have been doing this podcast for what's coming up to 8 years now. And the mad thing about it is, and I think everyone knows this, when X asked me to do it, I turned it down. I turned it down 5 times, and he was relentless and said, look, I really think you'd enjoy it and you should do it and you should host it. I think you'll do all right. And I was like, in the end, I actually agreed just to shut him up. And I look back now and I think, wow, what an idiot. Like, how my life would have been so different if X would have just accepted no for an answer. And I just think, over the course of time, I've got half decent at the editing and sort of learned a little bit about the software and all that. So, Adi, if ever you need any kind of advice, you probably know more than I do, to be honest with you, but any advice whatsoever, mate, then let me know. And I'd love to come on the show because I've been there and done it, being a dad of toddlers. I've now got one that's 14 and one that's 11. They don't get any cheaper, that's for sure. But we've had some funny stories along the way, mate. So if you're up for a guest, mate, I'll we'll do it. It'd be good fun.
Absolutely. I think that's exactly what we want. And we're trying to get other dads on there at different stages. So obviously my dad's going to come on one time and he'll say about what I was like as a kid and how he kind of it's all going to be glowing references. Don't worry. But it's just going to be how he kind of couldn't be able to watch West Ham, and now he's more off going West Ham often, and it's just the kind of sacrifices you have to make. It doesn't make you love your club any less. It's just you just look at it from a distance. But like interviews with different types of dads. I mean, my cousin's due to be a dad soon, so we're going to get him on at one point and kind of scare the hell out of him as to what to expect, and put him in the right place. But we've got loads of different features that we want to do, and also I think what's quite important to touch on is the concessions thing that's going on at the minute.
Yeah,
and obviously, it's terrible. So we're going to try and do a couple of episodes touching on that and highlighting that, because although my co-hosts are Arsenal fans, they haven't come across this yet, and they've heard what's happening at West Ham, and they're disgusted by it as much as I am. So, and now they're worried with what was them having American ownership, that their sort of ticket format will go the same way, and their tickets ain't cheap at all at the moment. So it's only going to get more and more expensive. But even talking about, like say, the price of kits nowadays, and it's not just one every 2 seasons. Like when we was growing up, it's like one every season, but then there's 4 kits every season, and it's like, well, how can you financially cope with that? So, it's those sort of topics are quite crucial as within the game as much as it is like watching West Ham lose 3-0 at home. It's that sort of that sort of thing. So hopefully it can attract quite a few people and people can relate to it. And I'd like to think the podcast is going to be quite organic going forward, so people can relate to it better.
Yeah, well, the thing is, mate, you're very articulate. I think you've chosen a common bond between you and your co-hosts. And I think one of the things that have made our podcast a success is the connection that me and X have with each other. You know, I think we can talk about anything other than football. And I think our love for each other, really, and our sense of humour and our common bond in that respect comes across. And I'm sure you wouldn't have done this podcast with two other lads unless you had the same. So that's key. And then, do you know what, as well? Like, even if your podcast does go on to do really, really well, I mean, the more you do, and one thing I've realised about myself, and I'm sure X is probably the same, is the more you do, the more you don't realise or think about how many people are listening. Because I think if I sat there and actually realised and thought about how many people are listening to the words that we're saying, I think that'd make me a bit uncomfortable, if I'm honest. But I don't. I've been doing it for so long now. I just talk bollocks in a microphone, and what comes out comes out. And I'm just me. Do you know what I mean? And X is just X. And I think if you just stick by that, mate, and just have fun with it, I think you'll have a great time. And it's great. Yeah. Johnny Hunt actually has put in the chat, can you ask Adam where to find his podcast? So at this point it's Spotify, is it?
Yeah, so well, we uploaded it via Podbean, so we do have a Podbean account, but the luxury of hosting on that is that we'll be able to post it on any format possible. So we're on Spotify predominantly, we're on YouTube, we're on Amazon Music, we're on iTunes, basically you name it, we're on there. So if you put us in Google or any sort of media outlet, you can find us on there. But predominantly, I think Spotify is the go-to and most popular one between it. But I think we just wanted to make it available to anyone and everyone as much as possible. So, yeah, so every time a podcast episode gets uploaded, it will be uploaded on all those channels.
Perfect, mate. Perfect.
So
well, we wish you the very best of luck with that.
Sorry, mate, we're also on Twitter as well. Again, this is just a growing account, and regular updates will be on there. And Rob hosts the content on that one. So yeah, it's good. Yeah, we're trying to get it up and out of the ground, and let's see how it goes. You know, let's see what happens.
That's wicked, mate. Just have fun with it, mate. That's the best advice I can give you. Just have fun with it. And like I say, if there's anything I can do to help as someone that edits our podcast, whether it's software, hardware, anything whatsoever, mate, I'm sure you don't need it because you're already up and running. But you know, you only have to give us a shout, mate. I'd be more than happy to help a fellow hammer. You know that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I definitely will be touching base with you. I mean, we recorded it the other day, and it was a shit show. I'm going to be completely honest on what we actually put out. You know, I think we trying to edit it out as much as possible, but I just left it in because I just thought, you know what, things can only get better after that episode. So it's always good to look back on it. But yeah, give it a listen. It's our first one. It's just introducing the boys and what we're trying to talking about. A little touch on the Euros a little bit. And then there's a little story about how Rob gets kicked in the balls by his son doing Muay Thai. So that'd be quite funny to listen to.
Quality, mate. Well, I can't wait to come on myself because, like I say, I've got a 14 and 11-year-old now. So we've, you know, I've been through the toddler stage, and it certainly doesn't get any cheaper at the ages you're at now. Let me tell you. But I've got a few funny stories I can share, and we'll definitely make that happen. Ad, how's your dad's health?
Yeah, Dad's good, mate. Dad's good. We went golf about 5-6 weeks ago, and he was so worried about his stomach because he had a whip hole surgery, and he said, "Oh yeah, I've been having whip hole cramps and stuff like that." No, you'll be all right. So I took him golf, and he was fine. He had a girdle on. He was hacking away. He was hitting the balls in the rough and everything. I thought, yeah, you're back to your usual self. So but funny enough, I didn't want to take advantage of him, but it's the first time I beat him in a long, long time. So, and he went, to be fair, Ginger, I've had cancer. And I went, yeah, to be fair, I'll give you that one. So, talk about an handicap, right?
Oh, bless him. Oh, God almighty, that's brilliant.
He's doing good. He sends his wishes and that, and he said we have to get over to one of your events before a game. So
yeah, mate, please, that'd be fantastic, and give him our love as well. But that's brilliant, mate. That's brilliant. Well, we shall speak again, no doubt, Ad.
No worries, mate. Take care.
Top man. And you, mate. All the best. Keep in touch.